Hello guys, it's me Butterfly Spirit 314. So I recently posted on YouTube a video short of me doing a pole combo of me doing a fan kick into an Aphrodite. In particular, it's me doing a fan kick followed by a pole climb into an Aphrodite. And one of the reasons I'm even starting to put pole moves together is because in my pole class in particular, when the teacher is showing us a combo to do, I am the person that kind of struggles with being able to do the choreography specifically because it's a whole lot of moves put together. And for the teacher, it's like natural for her to like move from one thing to another. But for me, I struggle with it. So that's why I'm coming up with my own pole choreo, specifically like the fan kick into the Aphrodite in particular. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the fan kick into Aphrodite, maybe some things you guys may not know about these particular moves. So the first thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to the fan kick in this particular video that I'm doing is that I'm actually, with fan kicks, I actually struggle with what side of the pole I'm supposed to be on. And it's going to come with more practice the more fan kicks I do, but a lot of times I have to make sure that I'm setting myself up for the fan kick correctly so that I can do it right. And so depending on what butt cheek is on the pole, that's going to determine how I'm going to put my arms up on the pole, whether I'm going to be using, my right arm above my left or my left above my right if I'm using like my right butt cheek, for example. So it really depends. Another thing is making sure that I make sure I wrap my arm around the pole, and the pole that's at the park is a lot thicker than the pole I typically use in class, which makes it a bit more complicated. Plus it's coated, which makes it challenging too, because a coated pole means that I have to work harder to grip the pole. Now, another thing about me doing a fan kick at the park in particular is that this was actually a rainy day. So this was actually challenging for me to get around the pole, specifically because the playground material below my feet was actually a bit slippery. And also when I'm doing a fan kick, one thing that I know I have to work on is increasing my leg strength because my legs aren't as pointed out as I want them to be, which is something that I'm definitely working on. Now, when it comes to me climbing up on the pole, there are a lot of people who struggle with climbing the pole in pole dancing. And for me, I set a goal of learning how to climb, which I actually met that goal this year. However, climbing the pole may not be as easy for people to do as it seems. It literally took me, oh my gosh, because I've been doing pole dancing for at least 2 years. So I would say it literally took me about 2 years to learn to climb the pole. And it's not uncommon for, some people to struggle to climb the pole. But there are some people who just learn like that. And then there are some people who don't, like myself. So when I'm climbing up the pole, one of the things I have to remember is I have to remember to make sure that I am making sure that I am pushing into the pole on either side when I'm climbing up on the pole, as well as making sure that my arms are positioned correctly. I'm doing more of a modified climb of my own here, not necessarily a standard, just kind of my own version of a climb to get up on the pole. But there are many people who struggle with that. A good thing that I have learned to do is to sit on the pole correctly, more of in like a chair motion, so that when I move up the pole, it looks a little bit more effortless. But when I'm climbing up the pole now, it's a lot easier for me to get up the pole now, specifically because before I even get to the park, I warm up before I get there so that I make sure my body is warmed up. So before I even set out to even do this particular combo, as well as the other 2 combos I did on Saturday, was I actually did I believe I did a back workout, I did a core workout, I did a hip workout, as well as a leg workout before I even went to the park to warm up. Therefore, all these parts of my body were set up and ready. Because if I would have went to the park and not warmed up, I would not have been able to climb that pole at all. And I've discovered that, after many attempts to climb and things like that. So that's why it's easier for me to climb up now, because of course I warmed up. And that's something that's essential with pole dancing, is to make sure to warm up, because that actually will help someone to get up the pole a bit faster. So the next thing in this video I'm doing is, when I'm holding up at the top of the pole, I'm doing what's called a pole sit. And the pole sit is basically where I am squeezing the inner thighs into the pole to hold myself up. So yes, my arms are up like this, but my legs are doing a lot of the work, as well as my core is keeping me leveled on the pole, okay? So that's why I'm sitting there for a while, to kind of stabilize myself and just to kind of rest and kind of chill before I go into doing the Aphrodite move. So next I go into doing the Aphrodite move. And how I learned to do the Aphrodite pole move was from my pole class. And one of the things that I learned about doing the Aphrodite move, some people may call it a crucifix, but that's another name for this particular move. But at the pole studio I go to, is called an Aphrodite. So one of the things that I had to make sure I was doing, that's why it took me a minute in this video, or it took me a few seconds in that video, was to think about, okay, I'm doing the Aphrodite. Let me make sure, because I took my top leg, my legs were together essentially. So my two legs were together. So basically what I did is that I have to move one of my legs back behind the pole, and then the other one, as I'm leaning forward, I stick the other leg out, and then I'm squeezing the pole in order to keep me leveled. And then I just stick my arms out basically like this, just like in a crucifix motion. And I'm just kind of staying there leveled. And the part of my body is doing most of the work is my legs. That's what's holding me up in this particular move. And then after I'm up there for a bit, I show you guys myself doing the Aphrodite for a little bit. Then I come down from the pole, pretty easy, and stuff. And that's pretty much it. And then I do a cute little pose, I guess, that I just randomly threw in there. And that's pretty much it for this video. So just to kind of give you guys some insight on what was going on in that video. Thank you for watching. Bye.